Hi, hello everyone. I'm here to review the final episode of Love Next Door. I did say I might make a video about it, so I decided I might as well make like just one last hurrah about the last episode. Um, it was good. It had some cute moments between the main couple, which was great. The moms in the show reconciled because they were having this whole like big dramatic argument and a couple episodes before, I really didn't care that much, whatever, they reconciled. The dad had this little restaurant that wasn't really like, it wasn't like failing, but it also wasn't that successful. So he had decided to retire, right, and be done and whatever. And that was kind of a very cute, bittersweet moment. I never really had an issue with the dad in the show. I liked him. I liked both dads of both female and male lead, and I also liked the mom on the male lead side. It's just the female lead's mom I can't stand. Anyways, oh, also, I am ill and I apologize if there's a lot of breathing or if I have to cough or something, but I had to get this review. I had to get it done. And then I can say goodbye to this show and hopefully never watch it again. Anyways, so yeah, so the he retires, but he actually asks the male lead to build a restaurant for his daughter, which I literally it was so cute. I was like, that's adorable. So the boyfriend designs a restaurant for his girlfriend as per her dad's request, and it's absolutely adorable. It was so cute. And then she opens this restaurant, and they do a time jump towards the end of the show, but I won't get to the time jump yet because I have to talk about some current stuff that's happening in the timeline, and then I'll talk about the time jump. The so the second female lead and the second male lead, they are together, right? They're dating. They're very cute. She earlier on in the show had talked about how she wanted to go to the South Pole. Girl, I don't know. She was a what's it called, like a paramedic, I guess, and also kind of like I think she was just a paramedic. I think that's what she did, but I feel like they mentioned things about fires too, so I don't know if she was also like a firefighter or if there's like they're the same thing. I don't know. I was a little confused about her job description. She's a paramedic. Okay. Sorry. Anyways, so she had mentioned that she wanted to go to South Pole and there was like some job opening she really wanted to go to or whatever. So random, right? It fit her character though, because her character was so like adventurous and spontaneous and stuff like that. So it wasn't crazy, but it's also like such a funny, like random location. Like I want to go to the South Pole. She doesn't want to see Santa. She just wants to go see penguins. Anyways, so she ended up getting that job. And so a lot of people were speculating about oh, I wonder what they're gonna do with like the main character, like the couple. Like, are they gonna break up? Are they gonna do this long thing where she doesn't tell him? He ends up finding out very early on in the episode, and they end up talking about it pretty early on in the episode. And he's literally just like, "I am gonna support you," because she's gonna be gone like a year. That's like the whole thing. He's like, "I'm gonna support you, and it'll be fine," and it's fine. It's literally fine. I was like, "Okay, great. Thank you for not pulling in unnecessary drama." And so that's kind of where stuff is at in. Oh, and also the main characters, like the main couple, are like engaged and they're looking at getting married relatively soon. But then they do a time jump and they're not married yet because she had asked him when they were like looking when she was looking at wedding dresses. She was like, can we just wait a year, because she's like, I just got this new restaurant, I want to like get it off its feet, and like I want to spend like, she's like, you know she goes, I want to catch up on 30 years of dating, because like they've known each other for like 30 years, and she's like, I just want to like date you, like I don't want to just like get married, which I guess I kind of understand. I was like, you guys hadn't been together for very long before he had proposed anyway, so it was like, I just want to like date and whatever, which I was like, okay, I get that. So anyways, the time jump is 10 months later. Oh, and also she had said since her friend was gone for a year on the expedition on her like job thing, she's like, I don't want her to not be in the wedding. So the time jump is 10 months later. So technically what the second female lead is not back in Korea yet. But she has this FaceTime call with her boyfriend and his daughter, who she's like, loves or whatever. And the boyfriend was saying he was going to come visit her. They don't show us that reunion. We don't get to see it, because why would we get to see that? But we do hear about it, which I was like, okay, why even mention it if you're not going to show it? Whatever. And then the male lead's parents got, what do you call it? Renewed their vows. And so it was just like this cute sequence where like the main couple was watching them, because it was like the mom friend group that had been part of the show, they were there. Both husbands were there. It was like very cute, like whatever, right? And then the main leads were watching them, and then the episode ended with them like, okay, so they obviously, a lot of their relationship, especially before they dated, was like they bickered a lot. They kind of fought, not like in a super toxic way, but just kind of like that was just part of their relationship, like a kind of a banter, arguing. And so the episode ends with them doing that and being kind of like whatever, but then also at the same time they're like, oh, we're fighting, we shouldn't be fighting. And then they're like, let's set some ground rules for when we're fighting, like we always have to hold our hand, like we have to hold hands and we have to say honey at the end of the sentence. Where it was kind of cute, whatever. So then they're holding hands because they were like upset about some other random stuff, and then they were gonna go like look at their house that he was designing or something, and then she was late so it didn't work. So then he calls the contractor and he's like, can we come see it? And they're like, yeah, you can. And then they're all like happy. And the show is literally just them like walking and talking. I personally thought the end felt very much like the end of an episode and not the end of a show. It felt like this should be a segue into another episode. I was a little upset that they didn't get married at the end because I was kind of like waiting for that. But I also wasn't surprised. And I genuinely from the beginning wasn't expecting that because unfortunately, K-dramas, they often don't get married anymore. It used to be like a big thing where the characters would get married, and I personally really like that. I think it's really cute. I think it's really annoying when you're watching a show and they talk about getting married and they're engaged and whatever, and the show just ends with them not getting married. Like if they weren't saying they were engaged or they weren't saying they wanted to get married in the show and they just wanted to be together, that's whatever. That's fine. Not a big deal. But if they hint at wanting to get married and are being engaged and then you just don't see anything, it's so annoying. Like that happened in the show called Business Proposal, where literally the end of the show, like the last episode, they were like separated for like a really long time in the last episode because he was off doing some business. He is like overseas business or something. Girlie at one point thought he was like cheating on her. So keep that in mind. And then he shows up randomly and it's like, oh, we're back together. He obviously wasn't cheating, but it was still like, why even throw that in the plot? Like why let that be even a thought in the female lead's head? It was weird. And then they don't even get married. Like you don't even see a wedding. And the show had like a double wedding, or not the show, the webtoon that it's based off of had a double wedding between her and her best friend, who's the second female lead, and her fiance, because they get engaged, which makes even less sense because the second lead couple in that show had been dating for like 2 months, and then they get engaged, and then it's like a year like time jump, and they're still not married, which is also a little bit weird. It's like, okay, so you're still not married. And then the other couple, I think he gives her like a ring at the end, but it's like we don't get to see a wedding. It was so stupid. The end, I have so much beef with Business Proposal because I think the show could have been so much better than it was. And I just personally think the male lead was not suited for a CEO type. I don't think he fit the cold type. I think he just doesn't fit it. It just doesn't work. And I don't think it's that he can't do the like serious, like stern type. I just don't think the CEO, the way they wrote the character in that show, fit him at all. And not every actor can be the cold CEO type. It just doesn't always work. Like he was in this one show, sorry, I'm going off on total tangent, but the main lead in Business Proposal was in this other show called I think it's called like, what is it called? The Doctors or Doctor something, right? And his character wasn't like super like hee lighthearted, bubbly or whatever. He was like serious and stuff, but that fit him so much better. And I felt like in Business Proposal, it was like he was doing a really weird, like a bad impression of a CEO, because his secretary, who's the second male lead, he fit the cold, stern, like stereotype so much better, and he actually would have done a lot better of a job. So the casting in that show is a little bit wonky because I don't understand why they cast him specifically. And the thing is I really like that actor. I like him a lot, but I do not like him in that show. I just don't think he thrives. I think it feels like a weird, like I said, like almost like a caricature of a character. Like it doesn't resonate. Like he doesn't give that vibe off, so it just feels kind of like performative. Whereas the female lead, I think, fit that like bubbly, silly kind of role. I just think she's a really good actress anyways. Thing is, I do think the male lead can act as well. I've seen him in like a couple shows. He's a great actor. So I just don't think Business Proposal was his show. Anyways, all of that to say, Love Next Door, would not watch it again. I did see some comment that someone made, and this is the last thing I'll say. I saw a comment that someone made about how it didn't seem like the female lead, the character, cared as much about the male lead as the male lead did. And I think that the reason, or like, she didn't care about him as much as he cared about her. Sorry, that's what I meant. I think the reason that it didn't feel like that is because we knew from pretty early on in the show that the male lead had feelings for her, and people being myself too, because I also had this thought process, people don't always take into account the fact that she had to go through so much stuff to get to the point of liking the male lead, because she had her ex, she had her illness, she had her job situation, she was lying to her family, she was hiding her emotions, her feelings, everything. So it's like she had way, 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 way too much going on for her to accurately depict her falling in love with the male lead in a like realistic timeline. Because by the time that they get together, it feels a little bit like, doesn't feel like she likes him as much as he likes her. It feels very like he is putting way more effort into this relationship, but you have to take into account that she had everything going on in her life. But it's also frustrating because it's like, why give the female lead so much then? Like, why couldn't we have taken like 2 to 3 things off of her plate, if you will, instead of, because I don't think that the actress is incapable of depicting falling in love. I don't think it's the actress at all. I think it's the character 100%. And I honestly think the character kind of just sucked. I don't think that it was a well-written character. I think there was things I liked about her character, but at the same time, she also did things and had like certain, just like the way she would like act around people. I was like, this is like not pleasant, in my opinion, to watch. I don't think that this is funny behavior. I think they were trying to write her as kind of like a sassy character, and in fact she kind of just came off as like really rude a lot of the time. And it was like, I don't really want to watch a female lead who doesn't know how to like be a good person. Like, it's not funny to watch her just be mean. And that wasn't all the time. It was just some of the time, and I think it was just not a well-written, a decent written character, but could have been a lot better. Let's say that. Anyways, so that's kind of my issue with it, among many other things. I do see what people are saying, and it is frustrating when they do the whole, like, I said I was going to say my other thing was my last thing. This is my last thing. Sometimes I think the she fell first, he fell harder is a better trope overall. Hear me out. Because sometimes I think it's hard when you do a he fell first, because as much as and when I tell you I adore a he fell first, I do. I love it so much. It's one of my favorite tropes. However, sometimes if they don't have a female lead that reciprocates the same level of devotion that the male lead has, it feels off. And it's the same thing with a female lead who's head over heels with her male lead who just does not give 2 flying farts about her. It's the same thing. It goes both ways, and it only works if there's equal devotion. Sometimes it works if one character is head over heels, and the reason that the other character isn't as, like, outwardly affectionate is because of, like, their personality or trauma or some reason that they have that they're like that. But then you have to at least give us a couple of moments where they reciprocate the same level of affection for the person, because otherwise it just feels like one of your characters is a fan of the other one, and the character that doesn't have a lot of affection is just kind of like, okay, you're just there. And it's like, no one wants to watch that. So that's why I sometimes think the girl falling first but the guy falling harder is better. But I can't deny that I love it when the guy falls for the girl first. Because it is a really fun trope. So it really depends. It just depends on the level of devotion amongst the person that's the less affectionate person. Like how, because if it's like, oh, they don't show the outward affection that much, but you just know they are absolutely like, they're down bad for that person and they will die for that person. Like if it's like one of those, like that's fine too. Anyways, these are all very specific situations and plots. Okay, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye. I'm gonna go try to feel better. Okay, bye.